Treasurer calls for better payment system. PomGen reports 2 deaths on New Year. And calls to establish FSVU office in Hela.
This is National EMTV News with Shamaine Poriambe.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for National EMTV News. Treasurer Ian Stuckey says PNG needs a better payment system to ensure government checks do not get bounced back by commercial banks, even when there is money in government accounts. Stuckey raised this concern as PNG government works to recover from the effects of COVID-19 on the economy and the use of government checks by local businesses and how these businesses have been affected when the checks are not accepted. He will be calling a meeting mid this month with the heads of commercial banks and other concerned stakeholders to discuss the likely source of the problem and possible solutions.
The Treasurer Ian Stuckey will be calling key leaders together in January to find a solution to the problem of government checks bouncing when they are deposited by legitimate PNG businesses after having been comprehensively vetted and endorsed by the administering government agency and finally approved for payment by the Departments of Finance and Treasury. Stuckey says this is unfair for local businesses and the national government. He said the entire government caucus during 2020 on several occasions have expressed their frustrations and demanded a complete stop by the Bank of PNG and commercial banks in dishonouring government checks when sufficient funds are clearly available. He adds economic recovery from the global COVID-19 pandemic depends on PNG businesses and farmers being able to restart and sell more of their produce to local markets. And with the government providing 211 million kina through the COVID-19 support packages to be spent at local levels by district and provincial administrations, the government is moving to a more decentralized process with more funding going through the local level. However, he is concerned these reforms and recovery efforts are being undermined by government checks being bounced when deposited into commercial banks. He said members of parliament are angry with this practice and made a strong call for this to stop. The Treasurer in the January meeting, he will summon all the heads of the private banks, the Governor of the Bank of PNG, the Secretaries of Finance, Treasury, Planning and any other relevant departments, and experts in payment systems from the World Bank and other areas to discuss how PNG can modernize its payment systems. Stuckey says the business of government is being forced to slow down at a time when support for economic recovery is required, and even though the government is making attempts to help, the process has been frustrated by excessive red tape. Stuckey in a statement said good payment systems must balance the need for ensuring all payments are properly authorized and executed in line with international obligations such as anti-money laundering and countering terrorist financing while also being efficient. He said many members of parliament have called for a review of the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorist Financing Act 2015 or to look at how it is being interpreted and then incorporated into the payment process by the Bank of PNG and commercial banks to determine if this is the reasons for bounced checks. Ruth Rungula, National EMTV News.
Port Moresby General Hospital reported 2 deaths on New Year's Day. Both deaths were due to trauma to the head. Port Moresby General Hospital Emergency Department is overwhelmed with alcohol-related injuries since the early hours of 1st of January 2021. The neurosurgical unit admitted 6 traumatic brain injuries, all alcohol-related violence incurred after the New Year celebrations. All are male adult patients. CEO of Port Moresby General Hospital, Dr. Paki Molumi, said a 17-year-old with traumatic brain injury with depressed skull fracture requiring surgery or craniotomy and skull elevation also is still at a private hospital to be transferred to Port Moresby General Hospital. The hospital also reported 2 deaths with traumatic brain injury who died at the emergency department. Dr. Molumi said the emergency department is full to capacity with other trauma-related injuries. He said as the New Year celebrations are still continuing in some parts of the city, more casualties are expected. The Port Moresby General Hospital medical team and management are now working on increasing manpower and resources to manage this crisis. A fatal car accident happened last night in Wirui in East Sepik Province. According to eyewitness, the accident left both PMV trucks badly damaged. The drivers of the vehicles both suffered grievous injuries and were rushed to Moresby General Hospital for treatment by the road accident rescue team. Police will carry out investigation when the victims recover. The cause of the accident is unknown, with no deaths recorded. You're watching National MTV News. More stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. The officer in charge of the Family and Sexual Violence Unit in Hela province is calling for the establishment of this essential government service. Alice Arrigo says it's been 5 years since agencies of government promised to build the office in Tari. She says the Family Sexual Violence Unit is critical given the rising cases in the province.
Alice Arrigo spearheads the Family Sexual Violence Unit in Hela province. She says the FSV unit has been operating without a proper office since 2014. According to her, it's been 5 years of delay for the construction of this essential government service.
We've been fighting for this building to be erected some 5 years ago, but due to some circumstances beyond our control, that building has been moved to Jiwaka, and we haven't given up.
The FSV unit or its office was said to be built within the premises of the police headquarters in the provincial capital. Due to tender and other processes, the project was moved to Jiwaka province. Paperwork and policies supporting the FSV unit are already in place.
In that we had established plan, provincial family sexual violence action plan. It's a strategic plan, and we also had a committee established, and we also identified our key stakeholders put together in referral pathways.
Given the lawlessness and incidents in Hela province, Sergeant Alice Arrigo says most cases are not reported but are solved outside the court. She says prominence must be given to the establishment of the FSV unit office.
There's a lot of violence happening in Hela, with a lot of women and children being affected in the trouble fight and in the homes as well. That this office that will be, being built by the law and justice sector, that will address or will help us to address the violent cases that's going on in the province.
Through the Provincial Law and Justice Committee, plans have been outlined to tackle the growing demand. With funding supported through various programs, the committee wants to see justice services established and function fully. Among them is the Family and Sexual Violence Unit.
At provincial and sub-provincial level, it will be about local delivery of inclusive and accessible law and justice services, and they will be outlined in the provincial and also the agency law and justice plans. And the third one is around improvements of accessibility and enforcement.
Jack Lopava Jr., National MTV News.
A souvenir shop was opened recently in the town of Kiunga in Western Province. With the help and support of Oktedi projects through Oktedi Development Foundation, creating opportunities for women to invest into business is a way forward for locals. The shop is located on the ground floor next to the doorway entrance of Kasawari Hotel in Kiunga. The souvenir shop in Kiunga will be selling OTDFs, including OTML's merchandise, merchandise and later diversify into selling local artifacts of the province like suki baskets, tulip bilums, amongst others. The Western Souvenir Shop is owned by Nupmore Women's Investment Limited. Para Health Center in the Como district of Hela is providing basic health services despite being understaffed. With only 3 officers working full-time, the health facility needs additional health workers. A nurse assisting the officer in charge says though a fair amount of support is given by stakeholders, the church-run facility is operating on ad hoc basis.
Charles TMI is a Moresbian working full-time at the Para Health Center, a health facility within the multi-billion PNG LNG project in Hela province. He says the level 2 facility is bombarded with increasing number of patients seeking medical assistance.
The mothers do come from the Juni area, from Mananda and Como, because Juni, there's a new building there, but they did not officially open the building yet so far. So all the mothers from there never got. They used to come here at Para. Mananda doesn't have any delivery areas, so all the mother from Mananda comes here. And then Como, sometimes the Como people used to come here. So because of all this, we do in a month time, we do 20 mothers plus 20 plus mothers in a month.
The church-run facility was established by the Evangelical Church of PNG. TMI says support is given by partners like ExxonMobil, but little from government, which the church receives from. It's a daily struggle for the 3 health workers who work almost every day to provide necessary health services to communities.
The 3 staffs, the ratio of 3 to 5,000, it's a lot. So our work here is sometimes all right, sometimes not all right, due to, over-exercise and work stress. So sometimes we do help ourselves in the support of doing what we can, and then there are sometimes we feel, tired and all this. So yeah, there are a lot of these things happening here, but yeah, we have 4 staffs, 4 houses with 3 staffs only. We still continue asking our secretary for CPNG Health Services to support us with 1 staff, so 2 more, 3 more.
Paperwork to employ additional staff to the health facility has been slow. Despite this, the Para Health Center continues to deliver services. The center is also seeing an increase in women who come for labor because other nearby health facilities has closed. TMI says its operation depends on its limited electricity supply and funding capability.
Currently, we are using our generator, yes. Whatever ways means that we have to go to Tari to find some diesel. It's just that how good we find our diesel, and then we keep on bring the light over, and then it helps us in terms of delivery and other emergency. But so far so good, we are all right.
Jack Lopava Jr., National MTV News.
Trugai Sports is next. Details after the break. Stay with us.
Trugai Sports.
Good night and welcome to Trugai Sports. In what will surely be the most challenging year for the SPPNG Hunters as the team relocates to Queensland for the entire 2021 season, having a reliable team captain will be vital to the team's conduct on and off the field.
With the final 30-man SPPNG Hunter squad to be formally announced early this year, Coach Matthew Church has a clear idea of who he wants as his captain for the 2021 Intrust Super Cup season. With seasoned operators such as Watovo Puara Jr., Enoch Maki and former captain Ase Boas in contention to make the final squad, Coach Church has worthy contenders to pick from. Having players with a wealth of experience in the ranks will surely offer invaluable leadership as the Hunters face a difficult season with relocation to Queensland for the 2021 season. If the Hunters are able to blend the exciting young talents in the train-on squad with the steady hand of the veterans, the team will be a formidable force in the ISC competition.
I think we all like to work with people that we respect and that have integrity. So they're the first 2 things that you want in a leader of any organisation. It doesn't need to be rugby league. So they're the things that we're looking at. We want to make sure that we are, pick someone that the other boys do want to follow. But knowing that, someone as valuable as Ase is getting towards the twilight of his career. That's not to throw shade on Ase's career, but he's getting closer to the end than the start. So we need to look at how do we transfer that leadership and draw the, he's so experienced in our game. So yeah, looking to transfer some of that to some of those young guys that I named earlier that are just coming into the squad for the first time.
Huxley Lovai, Trukai Sports.
President of PNGFA, John Capinato, says FIFA, the governing body of football globally, has been a big help to Papua New Guinea Football Association. Capinato says that FIFA has provided adequate funding for PNGFA to develop the PNG Football Stadium, where the head office of PNGFA is, and also supportive of PNGFA's efforts to start up football projects throughout the country.
FIFA is very happy. Oceania Football Confederation is very happy on the way we're going. We've also made visits throughout our projects in Kimbe and Ley. And in here, we're sitting here, I think in early next year, we may be renovating all this place up in the corporate boxes and all these things. So FIFA is really supporting us to make sure that PNGFA's headquarters here is looked well and all that. So we've got a new project in the Highlands coming, so FIFA is really supporting us. I think they see that the transformation that we are doing in terms of the administration, in terms of what we are doing, I think they're very happy. So in terms of football, I think PNGFA is on the right track. And now we have the challenge of trying to get to the 2022 Men's World Cup and Women's World Cup as well.
And that story wraps up Trukai Sports. Up next is the weather report for the next 24 hours. Bye for now.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports. This weather update is proudly brought to you by Moniplus, with you always.
Weather forecast for this afternoon and tonight. Southern region, Port Moresby, light rain drizzles tonight, then fine partly cloudy morning. Daru, light rain drizzles tonight, then cloudy morning. Popondetta, cloudy with some rain showers tonight and tomorrow. Kerma, partly cloudy with chances of light drizzles. And Alatau, likely rain drizzles tonight, then fine partly cloudy morning. In the Mamatse region, Ley, occasional thundery rain showers tonight and fine cloudy morning. Medang, light rain showers tonight, then fine morning. In Wewak, fine partly cloudy tonight and morning rain drizzles. Vanimo, cloudy tonight with possible morning rain drizzles. In the New Guinea Islands, Lorengau, fine partly cloudy, a shower or two. Kavieng, mostly fine tonight and tomorrow. Kokoport Rabaul, mostly fine tonight and tomorrow. Kimbe, partly cloudy tonight, then morning rain drizzles. And Buka, mostly fine, partly cloudy tonight and tomorrow. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, rain showers and drizzles tonight, then morning fog. Goroka, Kundiawa, light rain showers, drizzles tonight, then morning fog. Mendi and Wabeg, light drizzles tonight, then morning fog. Focus for small crafts for the next 24 hours. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands to waters of Samurai Island to East Cape to Cape Vogel through Huon Gulf to Finchafen with waters of Long Island to Karkar Island to Wewak to Aitape to the northern PNG Indonesian border with waters of Manus and its western group of islands with waters of New Island to Bougainville and with waters of East and West New Britain 6.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait to Daru to Kiwa Islands to Kerema to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samurai Island with waters of Finchafen through Vitias Dampier Straits to CSE Long Islands, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Ocean focus for PNG areas. The Coral Seas sees slight with northwest to northeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. The Solomon Seas sees slight with northwest to northeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. The Bismarck Seas sees slight with north to northeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. And the Pacific Ocean sees slight with northeast to easterly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that's the news, sports and weather for Saturday, the 2nd of January 2021. Pleasant viewing. Be safe. Bye for now.